Hi, Miabella. Thank you for
Hi,
being here with me today.
thank you for having me, Sheryl.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. So, tell us a bit more about yourself and what kind of art you do and how you decided to become an artist.
Okay, well, my name is Miabella Wolfsong. I am an intuitive mixed media artist and creativity coach, animal light worker. Um, I'm native to Texas, although I've lived in lots of places and I'm very serious about my globe trotting, seeing new lands. And as far as like why I wanted to be an artist or how, I guess I always knew I wanted to be or that I was. Um, Mostly, I would say, I think because when I was a kid, I felt like I didn't really fit in.
Mm.
And working with animals and working with art was how I was able to really self love, self express, self heal. And so now it's become part of my regular self-care routine, just anything creative and making art. And I enjoy sharing it with others because I feel like that energy gets infused, that healing energy gets infused into the work and radiates into people's spaces in a positive way.
Oh, I can relate to that about not when I was a kid. I didn't always feel like I fit in, and art was my way. I just always felt different, and I couldn't. I mean, when you're like a little kid, you don't really understand it like you do when you're an adult. And so art was also my way of um, just expressing myself and having that safe space. And I also love animals. So I totally get that. Beautiful.
Yeah, I feel like we're a lot alike in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. You started the dirty pour technique. Can you tell us the story behind that and what inspired you? I'm so
I
fascinated by this.
did, yeah. It's it still feels crazy to me too, especially to see how far what I'm calling the fluid painting movement has traveled in such a short time. So yeah, I feel like almost everybody knows now what acrylic pouring or paint pouring is these days. So yeah, back when I would say 2007 or 8, I stumbled upon this stuff called Liquitex pouring medium, and you can mix it with your acrylic paint to make your paint like way more viscous and able to pour out of like a cup or a bottle or something. And so I was experimenting with this stuff and then actually took a break from painting for a few more years and put all of my stuff in a cupboard and or a box. And so 2014 came around, it was a few years later, and I re-stumbled on the medium and I was like, that stuff. And so I looked it up online, found one YouTube video of like, it was just one person out there using this stuff. And she was showing in the video how to mix it with your paint in individual cups and then put those colors together in one cup. And then she poured it from the top of a vertical canvas and let it drip down.
Mhm.
And that was it. It was a very short video. She called it a dirty pour. So I didn't come up with that term, but I thought that was really interesting. And I started working with it, but on a flat canvas, like a horizontal canvas. And after I'd pour it, I started moving the canvas around and tilting it with gravity to make like marbleized effects. Um, and then at some point on Instagram, there were a few other people kind of doing this type of stuff a little bit, but everybody was doing it different ways. And I met a girl named Kaylee Bender, and she started the very first like OG fluid painting group on Facebook, and it had like nobody because she just started it, and then she invited me into it. There were maybe 100 people, and so I did my very first ever dirty pour YouTube painting. It was the very first, other than that, the first person who did the vertical one. Mine was the first horizontal one, and I put it out on YouTube, and she loved. It was like a how-to with all the steps and all the everything that I used to make it happen. And she posted it on the files in her group. And within like a month, that group turned from like 200 people to like 20,000. So
Wow.
everybody was using my video as their very first intro to paint pouring. And so it kind of went viral overnight. I had just no idea that was going to happen. That was just not, it was beyond me. So yeah, since then, I would say I got close to like at least 600, 700,000 views, hundreds of questions. Her group exploded. And basically since then, it feels like overnight, that people started using the term dirty pour in association with the way that I was pouring and tilting. And then since then, I guess a lot of artists have come and done all sorts of different types of techniques based on that and based on the type of paint that I was using, and like starting to add all the iridescence that I've always done too. And it's really cool. It's just a really cool thing that I got to be sort of part of at the beginning for this movement. And yeah, that's the story behind how it happened. Just totally unexpectedly, boom.
It is really cool. And you just never know. Like you just put stuff out there and you just never know what will take and what won't. And you just, it's like the lottery in a lot of ways.
Right, right.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
Mhm.
And I know you've had some challenges with your health. Has art helped or healed you any way? I always talk about the healing benefits of art, and I always ask the people I interview, like, how has art healed you?
Totally. Yes. So much I feel like art has healed me. Um, so I battle with a sleeping disorder called narcolepsy, among other related health challenges, including anxiety and depression. They all kind of go hand in hand. I feel as though art has really given me a creative voice and a way to express myself without judging my own emotions or my healing process. Um, and in that, it's allowed me to discover things about myself that I may not have ever really learned otherwise. I feel like it's given me a way to connect with other people in a huge way, especially people that may be going through something similar to me. Definitely seems like it's an art making really, is an out of the box way, for me to recognize and overcome other challenges in my life, regardless of just health challenges, but just anything. And it helps me to let go and find my natural flow. So I feel like just the mix of all those things increases my vibration, and I get to mix and play with colors and texture and imagery, and even just creating something from nothing. It really feels like it feeds my soul. It boosts my energy, which is huge for the narcolepsy thing. Increases endorphins, and I mean, yeah, it just gives me a meaningful purpose for my life.
Yes. And I could relate to the depression part. That's what I went through. And art helped me in that way and helping me get through that. And you're absolutely right. Like it just causes like the endorphins to go up and for you to feel happier and just your vibration to increase. And you could be in a pretty, I'm not so good state. And then you just start drawing or you just start painting and just this shift happens. And I've been through some challenges, as we all have. I mean, we're human, right? We're all going to go through something. So every time I've been through a challenge myself, I take out, even though sometimes it's difficult, I'm like, oh, I don't feel like it, but I
Hmm.
push myself to just start, drawing just a little bit, and I don't even know what I'm going to draw. And that in itself is just making those motions with your hands, or even just seeing the paint or feeling the texture of the paint on your hands. Sometimes I love just um, getting messy and getting all the paint on my hands and putting it on the canvas or whatever. Just that sensory feeling, I feel
Yes.
is healing. Like I love working with clay, and I don't know what I'm doing with it. Like when I go on the wheel and I'm taking a class, I'm terrible at it, but I just love that feeling. It feels good. And that's something I want people to um, really know and to be educated about. The ones who are like, I'm not creative, I don't know what I'm doing. And it's not about that. It's about the process and just going through it and enjoying it. And even if you don't enjoy it and you get frustrated, that's also part of it.
Mhm.
But it just releases emotions. It
Yes.
releases whatever is stagnant within you. Yeah. So, what advice do you have for those going through challenges and how to incorporate art into their lives to help them get through it?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. Well, something kind of similar to what you were saying a second ago is like, I believe that everyone's born creative, whether they think so or not. And so I think everybody really has a chance to discover themselves in a deeper way by playing with visual, mixed media. Um, so what I would tell people who are going through life challenges is to experiment with mark making, just making marks with different types of art supplies on different types of substrates and see what feels really good. Just like what you said with the clay, it's like when it feels good, it feels good. It's about that. That's the biggest part. I also recommend taking classes or watching videos on how to create the types of art that the person is interested in. And to keep an open mind anytime you're trying something for the first time. I feel like it takes a lot of practice and dedication really to develop a signature style, but that's not necessary in order to achieve the health benefits you're talking about. So I think for people just getting started, I would definitely say give yourself grace to play and let go of the end result, especially while any in experimental stage of any creative process. So like something that helped me when I felt really like intimidated by a blank canvas a long time ago was I would put a piece of large watercolor paper in front of me with a limited time frame, like 1 hour. I'd be alone in a room and I wasn't allowed to judge myself or critique the work until the end of the hour. And there's no other rules or restrictions. And then I knew that at the end, if I did not like it, I wouldn't have to show anybody and I could just throw it away because it's just paper. I wasn't like paying for an expensive canvas. And so this process really gave me the freedom to begin experimenting. And through it, I've gotten so much stronger as an artist, as a person, and in general. I feel like I've created my best works that way because I just let go of the judgment process. Um,
I love that. That's a great practice to have. It's amazing. What words of wisdom do you have for all the creative spirits out there?
I would say that you're here for a reason and people are benefiting from your presence. So keep going. You're beautiful and you're perfect exactly as you are. I feel like sometimes when you feel stuck in the mud, that's the best time to try something new, to really kind of, change it up, mix it up, and really share yourself in an authentic way. Um, you being you is the most important thing. So do what feels right, do what feels authentic, and people are going to resonate with you and the work that you create.
100%. Yes, absolutely. I feel like when I started or tried something new, even though I was a little like hesitant about doing it and what are people going to think and all these thoughts go through your head. Uh every time I would try that new thing, it would light me up so much and I was so happy to do it. And even though sometimes it didn't turn out so well, there was just something about this new thing that I tried. I know artists, they don't want to just stay in a box and they want to try different things. I always encourage that because sometimes even um, like our collectors maybe or society, like they see you do certain work and they keep expecting that from you. So you keep putting that out and you don't try something new because of that fear that maybe they won't accept what you're doing anymore. They won't buy
Right.
your work or whatever it is.
Yep.
Limit yourself. And yeah. So, where can people find you and your work?
Yeah. So I'm on Instagram as Miabella Wolfsong. Um, I'm working on building my website right now so that people can find what works are available, online art classes that I'm putting together, and also my creativity coaching group program. So all of that's on its way. And when it comes out, it will be shared through Instagram. So Miabella Wolfsong on Instagram is the easiest way to get a hold of me at this point.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being here with me today. It was so beautiful and delightful. And I love your work. It's so beautiful. And I hope our audience gets to go on Instagram, see it, and your energy, and the energy in your work is just really captivating and light and just beautiful. So thank you for being here with me today.
Thank you, Sheryl. I really appreciate you and your art and your creativity too. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.